Egypt without arms, and it was not a rebellion. It was, what happened was in people's minds. All of the old relationship between the master and the slave just dropped away. You're not my master, I don't have to serve Pharaoh. It just happened in the space of whatever it was, 10 months. A complete shift of consciousness. Just like there was a shift of consciousness in the 1500s, the Renaissance, in the 1800s, a huge shift of consciousness. Well, how exactly the prophecies of the prophets will be actualized, I have no idea. I always follow Maimonides' teaching in the Sefer Melachim, the end of Mishnah Torah, where he says it's not our business to investigate the end and how it will come about. He just gives a very general scenario, but says don't occupy yourselves with details how it will happen. For every quote you can give me from the prophets of one way, I can give you another a different way. You quote from the Talmud this way, you find somewhere in the Zohar it says differently. So again I say our only job is education. That's all we're left with. And we're left now, and each person that can be influenced to get out of the surrounding insanity and to come to the truth of the Torah, that is net profit, the Rebach Naki. But specifically I don't admire the Temple Institute for trying to physically build the temple. What I do admire them for is education. They have made the temple a reality by making the models and by making the kilim. So that is the best form of education there could be. But to say, well, we need to conquer the Temple Mount and physically force, well, the temple can't be built by force. How can you build it? I mean, Solomon was not allowed to bring a knife into the temple. He couldn't cut the stones with an axe. He had to. Solomon ruled over from the Euphrates to the Nile, not by military force, but through the power of his wisdom. And the world today is terribly lacking in wisdom. I mean, look at all these crazy people who control the different countries. They have the leadership of Israel here. They're out of their minds. I mean, they're literally stupid. They think they're the most sophisticated, clever, we'll do it this way. It's all ridiculous.
I heard this morning a story. I feel familiar with it, but I am not so good educated. But I understand from the more we understand and do the Shuva, do the mitzvot, then we lift ourselves up, lift up to Hashem. But on the other hand, Hashem comes to us. And in fact, if we start to build the third temple, the temple from heaven is coming down.
Well, if you
but it can only, no, that's not what I want to say. You start to build if you try to fulfill the
arousal
mitzvah.
from below brings the arousal from
Yeah.
above. That is a Hasidic concept.
Yes.
Our job is to make the arousal from below. But we cannot dictate to God what his end plan is. We still have to make the arousal from below. And our sages teach us that every good thought and good deed that you do helps to prepare for Melech Mashiach. But you cannot, I mean, they thought they were doing the same 200 years ago. Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, Baal Tanya, Baal Shem Tov, they all were trying to make this arousal from below. Maybe 200 years ago they thought it's going to be 10 years time, and no, if you read Daniel, you read the commentators, Rashi on the sections of Daniel that speaks about the calculations, 1200 and whatever it is, 1270 years, 1235 years, and he says there, well, if you look at all the previous commentators, this is, 1,000 years ago nearly, look at all the previous commentators in the calculation, all of the kets, the end has come, and we've still not seen it. They all said it's supposed to be here already, and it's not. So Rashi.
No, but you have now the difference that he came in Israel.
That is.
Hashem brought us.
Right. Well, just imagine if what God forbid it could be like if we were not. I mean, somebody's doing something right, that we have survived here for these last hundreds of years. Particularly now, Israel is one of the world. I mean, this tiny little country is one of the world's leading. The whole world is bothered by what Israel does. It's ridiculous. I mean, everybody across the world, they're all troubled by Israel. That is a sign of how great and how important Israel is.
I'm a simple guy, but I learned in the yeshiva the second temple was destroyed because
Needless
we
hatred.
neighbors to each other. But when I look around now in the state of Israel, I cannot imagine that we still exist.
That's right. That's right. The pure mercy from Hashem that we continue to exist. Purest mercy, Baruch Hashem.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem.
But if they told you the Geula is only going to happen in 200 years, would you stop doing what you're doing today?
I never would stop. There is something inside me what pushes me to share so much as possible the knowledge that we have. And
when I was younger, I thought that the Geula is coming in 10 years or 15 years. Today, I'm starting to teach myself that I may not actually see it with my eyes while I'm in this body. That maybe I'm going to die and it will take place afterwards. But that doesn't stop me from continuing to do what I do, because just like Rashi and Baal Shem Tov and Arizal and Gaon of Vilna, they all did what they had to do. We have to do what we have to do. We have to observe the Torah, and God will bring it about in His way in the right time. But I do see fruits. I mean, when I started publishing books, which is 36 years ago, I could never have imagined that these books will get into what we in Britain used to call darkest Africa. I mean, in Nigeria, people know about Rabbi Nachman in Ghana and Kenya and Uganda and Namibia. Who would have thought it possible? And now, much quicker than I could have imagined it. I mean, internet has only been on the scene for most people for 20 years, 22 years, let's say. The World Wide Web really got going 22, 23 years ago. It's created, in this space of time, a total revolution, complete revolution. They say that when the son of the Queen of England, Prince Charles, married that woman that got killed in the car crash, Diana, that was the most heavily viewed television live broadcast ever across the world. I forget how, I once read how many people were thought to watch it while it was happening. Millions and millions of it everywhere in the world. So that means that the technology is all available, that when Melech Mashiach will actually come, people across the world will instantly be able to know about it. So we are seeing, as you said, we're seeing miracles on every side, but it's still all on a relatively concealed level. It's all behester, concealed, hidden away. In other words, you could take a drive down to Tel Aviv and drive up and down Rothschild Boulevard and Dizengoff, Mashiach, whatever. On the other side, you go up and down the country, you see Nachman Ye'uman written everywhere. I mean, you know, it's all, so we just carry on and do what we have to do. And we always have the hope of the Geula. All the prophets, Isaiah is full of the Geula. For 2,500 years, people have, in the Batei Midrash, have been reading these comforts, consolation. Nachamu, Nachamu Ami. But it's that which enables us to keep going, because we see the goal, we carry on working. But the bottom line is love, peace, and truth, and justice. As Zechariah says, give up the hatred, the bad thoughts, one for the other. You know, like, I open my WhatsApp to the group from Ghana. I said they're tearing each other's guts out, you know, enemy and divisions, and I'm thinking, you know, like, what is this?